Hey guys, I'm PM Asher, and we're here today with the Dungeon Defenders Devstream.
Woo!
This is to be more excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good to be here.
So we have a couple guests for you today. We have Elliot, who's our creative director. We're also going to have Josh Javahari,
Awesome.
who is our lead visual tech artist.
Oh yeah.
And we're going to be going over the new hero deck. I know you guys are really interested in this. Crumpo Log says he has his wine ready. So for those of you who don't know, which apparently a lot of you do because I've been watching the comments in the pre-stream today, we are doing some prizes. We're actually going to show you now. The prize for this stream is the Ebonfire Warlord costume. This costume is really, really awesome. It's one of our 1600 gem costumes for the Squire. And all you have to do is type in #NewHeroDeck for a chance to win him.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think this is actually one of my favorite.
It's tough looking.
Yeah, it's like really tough, and you can just like the fire visual effects are just so impressive on him. So yeah, I really like the Fire Warlord skin.
Awesome.
So guys, lucky you have your chance to win it. Also, guys, if you didn't hear, we just recently reached our latest Steam group numbers. So we hit 175,000. We unlocked the Huntress's Awakening weapon for everyone, and now we're getting really close to unlocking the next weapon, which is for the Apprentice, and it's the Blaster Caster.
Cool.
And so, guys, if you haven't joined the Steam group already, please, oh man, everyone's typing in #NewHeroDeck, just scrolling. See, that was brilliant to decide to pick that as our thing.
That's
So yeah, if you haven't already, please join the Steam group to unlock the last couple of Awakening weapons for everyone. I actually think this promotion's been pretty successful. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, this is a way to like let you know when something's happening in the game too, at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
You know, that's the good part for me, even for myself, my wife, everyone on my friends, they say, hey, this is cool. They forgot about it, but they get a notification and know what's going on. So that's the cool part.
So sweet, and a lot of you are probably here from that notification when you're not busy typing in #NewHeroDeck. All right, sweet. So with that, if you look in the corner today, we do have one of our animation videos. This one is from John Muscarella. He's our animator here at Trendy, and he's animating the Abyss Lord, which you can also see. Woo! We're playing today. Move around within the big arc. So this is going to be one of the first sneak peeks of the Abyss Lord. How would you describe the current state of the Abyss Lord?
I'm a real harsh dude, man. He's not perfect yet. He's got some more tweaks we're gonna do, but he's looking really, really good. I'd say he's about 80% mega awesome.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are like, he's really awesome, he's great, but I want him to go even higher and higher and higher. So yeah, we're doing a lot of feedback, internal loops, and trying to make him really, really tight.
Yeah.
But as far as how he looks and the way he moves, that's awesome.
So yeah, so the Abyss Lord, guys, is very much a work in progress right now.
Yeah, he's not done yet.
We're going to be only using him a little bit today to kind of show him off. So you can see him running around the tavern now. We're going to show you some more stuff with him in a minute. But before that, let's do our devlog recap.
Cool.
Ooh. All right, so this is every week, every Wednesday. If you guys tune in to the trendy website, dungeondefenders.com, all of us kind of go on and type a little bit about what we're working on this week. And this week we have a couple quotes to go over. So the first one is from Chris Flores. It's so this week we're continuing to work on hotfixes as they come out, but more importantly, we opened up the testing floodgates for the Abyss Lord. So guys, if you want to join the group and help us test them, do that as well. And very early prototypes of account leveling. We're going to evaluate the account leveling stuff, learn how it works, and then get ready to test it.
Yeah, well, we wanted to play around with the idea of count leveling. And one thing about doing a game like this you can't do if you're doing some whoop-de-doo AAA console multi-platform type game is you don't get a chance to try any experiments. And so we were able to take a little experience of what if we tried account leveling, what would that feel like, you know? And so we put it in the build, we tried it out for a little while, it's like, there's some weird stuff in there, it doesn't seem awesome. And that's one thing about what we're doing with the game now, which, I mean, that's the way you should do it as a game developer, is let the game tell you what's cool. Like, don't guess ahead of time and say, oh, I know this will be cool because I know everything. That's pretty arrogant. It's better to say, hey, this is a neat idea. I've seen it in other games. Would it work for ours? Let's try it pretty quickly. No, it doesn't resonate. Don't do it.
Exactly.
And we do that a lot with stuff. I mean, we have really big ideas we know we're going to do, and we know we're going to make this work. We've got to polish it. But something like that was just like a quick little, idea that came from a big town hall meeting that we had. We powwowed together, and we tried it, and nope.
Yeah, so guys, we tested that. We decided that it didn't work too well yet, so it's kind of in the backlog. We have some other stuff that's related to that, though, in the hero deck that we're going to talk about later on this stream today. Cool. So the second quote that I wanted to pull from these last 2 weeks' devlog was about PS4. So this quote is, MS-21 has kicked off this week for PS4, and we're digging into better UI coding practices and memory allocation, which is the main sources of crashes on PS4. Tim says that he knows that this is super sexy stuff that everyone comes to Tim for, and this release may take a little bit as we set ourselves up for developing on both platforms simultaneously, but rest assured we're going to deliver.
Yeah, that's really great. You've heard me say this a couple times earlier this year. Getting PS4 synced up with PC is a big deal, and it's a lot of hard work, and they're cramming a lot of stuff together really, really quickly, and things like memory footprints and stuff like that, super important to make sure it's tight for everybody. So it's hard work and a lot of heavy lifting right now, and the programmers doing it are really killing themselves on it. But once it's all together, we'll be able to do so much more stuff to reach everyone with the same stuff, and that's the really goal. It's for the players.
Mm-hmm. And then finally from the devlogs this last week, we have some really awesome dungeon map images. So if you guys have been paying attention to the devlogs or the dev streams, you've seen that we have been showcasing this new map here, this new dungeon map that we're working on. I want to show you guys some of the images here now. And then with that, we can go straight into the comments. Ooh, all right, so this is our opportunity to kind of highlight some of the comments from the devlog this week. So guys, if you jump onto the devlogs when we post them on Wednesday and post comments, we might show them on the stream. So here we have one comment from some random guy who says, that second dungeon image.
Some random guy?
Yeah, that's his name.
Okay.
Yeah. The second dungeon image reminds me of DD1 Foundries and Forge's map.
Mm-hmm. That was a starting point. To be honest with you, that was a starting point. That's a really, really cool map. And they started with that map. Instead of just taking it and verbatim copying it, they said, what if we took the idea of the flow and the layout and kind of took it a little different look and feel with it? And that's what the Diaz brothers are doing with it, and it looks really good. I actually really like it. So it's kind of like lifting from some of the proven fun from the previous game and then taking a different direction with aesthetics, which I think is fine.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see, so in these other comments here, we have one who's really excited for the dev stream today, where we're going to reveal some of the more about the Abyss Lord and the hero deck and UI changes, and someone else who posted a Godzilla GIF. So I wanted to make sure to share that with you guys.
Where's Ultraman when you need him?
Exactly. All right, so with that, we're going into our sneak peek on the Abyss Lord. We're going to show you guys more of the Abyss Lord. Last week, we showed you guys the Colossus. I think the resounding feedback is everyone thought that the first minion we revealed of his was really cool. We're going to play with the Colossus today. Maybe we want to play some really quick, show them off to people who didn't see it before. But in addition to the Colossus, we also want to show off today a new image. So this is our first look of the stream, which are the Bone Archers.
Bone Archers, renamed like an hour ago.
Yeah, exactly. I'm forcing everyone to have final names before we show them on the dev stream.
Yeah. This is another tower. The one thing that's really, really different about this tower, most of the towers in the game are pretty directional. You know, you place them, they're straight up in front of you. They're going to shoot and thrust them in a cone directly in front of you. It's not too hard to understand. With these guys, they're bi-directional. They're shooting behind them and in front of them, so you have lots of cool chances to place those kind of guys off the grid to cover two lanes simultaneously, especially with some of the things that you can do when you use the direct command ability. So this is just one baby step of all the different types of things we're going to do with the game. When I make it where placing the towers makes a difference, how you place it, whatever idea you have about it, is going to be what you think you should do with it. So this is just a quick clip of some of the stuff that we've been playing with before. That's not the latest and greatest visual effects, by the way. That's pretty old. It's about a week old. But yeah, so they shoot two directions at the same time. So that part in and of itself means that, ooh, where should I put this guy? If you just put him shooting forward, you're not getting the best you can out of him because he's cheap. So you can put him shooting two directions. You can cover two lanes. Some maps lend themselves better than that than others, you know. So
yeah, and I actually think the Bone Archers is one of my favorite things. So there's obviously a lot of bugs with his visual effects today, guy, which you're going to see. There's no visual effects for him shooting actually right now, and you'll see that on the stream. But we are going to showcase him and the Colossus and kind of show you some cool ways to use those as well. So with that, let's jump into Life-Fruit Forest, and we will start to play with the Abyss Lord. So now I wanted to just recap because they're going to see some things as Eric plays with the Abyss Lord today. What is direct command?
Okay, well the whole theme behind when Dan and the guys designed this character in the first place was the Abyss Lord's kind of like the master of summoning the Dark One's armies, the fallen enemies from them, the skeletal forms with orcs, all this kind of stuff, and using them to his own devices, commanding them. Not just taking them and say, hey, you stand here and just do this thing and I'm not going to mess with you anymore. The whole idea behind the direct command is that when things are going kind of bad, or you need one lane to kind of cover itself, instead of just going up and standing there and holding repair, okay, and just repairing a barricade that's going down. There's a lot of damage in a barricade, you can't take it. We want to go back there and fight back and push back more. So the direct command not only allows you to change what the core action of the ability is, it also, in some situations, allows you to do a ton of damage really, really quickly. So each of the different towers has kind of a different approach. One of them's like, it shoots completely differently, a further range and a more every effect attack. You'll see that with the archers. Its shooting action changes. With like the Colossus, it's like massive point blank damage directly in front of them in a cone kind of ability. So when you get where you kind of know what all the different abilities will be for the towers, and you use direct command, in your mind it's another set of 4 tools, giving you 8 tools all in your pocket to use in certain situations. So that's why we're calling him kind of more of an active builder. Sure, you can set up stuff and kind of leave them to sit there and run around and blow stuff up on your own, but if you, in a really nasty situation, you really want to push your skill set, whoever's really good at understanding how to use a direct command is probably going to be a much better Abyss Lord player. It might amaze some people like, wow, when you actually play this really, really well, he's really strong. So it is an opportunity for the player's decision about what to do and when to do it to make a difference, as opposed to just being, well, I got this thing and I just use it and it just does whatever.
Mm-hmm. So guys, I know the stream is a little laggy for some of you. We are having some people work on it. I think there's some issues with Twitch as well. So please stick around and continue to watch, and even if it's laggy, you will get to see some beautiful images of the Abyss Lord. Okay, so that was direct command. Now we are going to show off a couple of his abilities today too. I think this is going to be really exciting for you guys to see. So the 2 abilities we're going to show today are Summon Abyss Stone and Knights of the Abyss.
Sure.
Can you tell them a little bit about these?
Sure. The Abyss Stone is kind of like a short-term pulsing area effect damage dealing type of fixed mine. You place it down on the ground, starts pulsing damage immediately. It lasts for a short duration and then it stops. It lasts long enough for you to place yet another one and then another one with a little bit of overlap. We're still kind of tweaking the amount of overlap and the duration. Currently they're using kind of a charge mechanic, which is not really working that well with the mana mechanic that he has, but we're still tweaking that. But the good part is, for as far as like controlling a lane or controlling stuff, is that the configuration that you place the 3 of them down really, really quickly will have an effect on what you need them to do. So if you've got a bunch of guys just melee streaming fodder coming down the lane, you just want to mow them all down, you can go 1, 2, 3 in a linear pattern. Or if you need everything that's destroying one of the barricades dead now and something else is on cooldown, you can put 3 of them overlapping like the Olympic logo might be. So the whole idea is the pattern that you lay those things down makes a difference in how effective they're going to be. With you have the flexibility, like, well, you know what, I just need 1 over here and 1 over here. So once again, giving you the power to do what you want to do with the defense rather than just being a one-off and drop it and it's over. So how you place it, where you place it, when you place it, that's what makes the difference.
And I know for me what was really fun was just the feeling of being an active tower defense hero, being like, oh my god, these enemies have broken through. Tower,
do something
tower.
About it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real key thing with this character. You'll find it's very different. Is he's not as cut and paste, cut and dry between abilities and towers. Some of his abilities feel like movable towers, and so sometimes you're like, well, nothing really bad's going on. I'm just going to throw these down and kill everything, or like this is really bad. This is out of control. Let me pull this and throw this down to make a difference. So he kind of feels. I mean, you may have some envy from other heroes a little bit, but he is very good at responding to stuff very quickly.
Yeah, so guys, if you want also, we're going to show you now the Knights of the Abyss. So this thing is kind of following the same format as the Abyss Stone, except
a little different.
Yeah,
a little different. The visual effects of this guy isn't done. What we're seeing here is about a week or so old. There's newer stuff that's cooler now, but he's more of like point blank area effect, whirlwind, death machine, Diablo type war. You know, right here on the spot. This area effect must die. And it's kind of a longer cooldown, but you can just drop it down. He summons like this ghostly spirit that comes up out of the ground, spins around whirlwinds with a sword, and just destroys everything. A little bit of stunning and knocking back going on. It's a real good 10 seconds buy time. It also does a lot of damage too, and if you gear yourself appropriately, you can make it a big damage dealer as well. Really clear where it's going to land. You know what's going to happen with it. I use it when I use it. I kind of save it for the situations where things go bad, and I just want to shut something down immediately. So it's a really good ability that's like a tower. So, but most combination is what makes it really, really fun. It's really powerful.
So we have some people asking, or about why is the monk's image in the corner?
The monk's image? Oh yeah, well, you know, Abyss Lord didn't show up for the photo shoot. He's too cool to show up for the photo shoot. Yeah, that's just a placeholder. What they do, just know from a developer inside peek, you know, when Derek Stroud and Dan Hadar were locking this guy down, you start with a basic actor class, the Unreal Engine, that's a foundation. and then you make a permutation of it. You make like a parent-child relationship. So not to get off in la programming land too much, but you start with something that works, that has a full locomotion set and ability set, and you mod it. I mean, if you're a guy who mods games, you know you do the same thing. So even when we're developing games, it kind of starts with a modder attitude. We start taking something, we mod it, we start trying it, because we don't have, why write it from scratch? We have it there. So little things like for us, we call it developer goggles, like little things like the icon, we'll fix that, we'll make that cool later. We just want to make sure you plays fun first. So those kinds of things are like dressing along the end of the whole pipeline. We want to focus on making it fun first and then do that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously not going to be the monk picture at the end of the day. You have a cool portrait and all that. So.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for you guys, one of the things that we really wanted to do was show like the in-progress version of the Abyss Lord.
Yeah, why not?
Get you to see, even though we're just showing you a couple of his minions today and some of his abilities, kind of get you to see what it's like and let us know what you think about it. So we're really excited to kind of give you this early peek at him. And I think we're starting to play now, so you'll get to see how effective he is. Really excited. Is the Abyss Lord really a dead monk? That would be a funny
That's actually really good. Right? Yeah, we'll just rewrite this whole storyline, change all his abilities to have like an Asian flair.
Yeah, no, we'll be like, Rest, you didn't even have to make the icon for the Abyss Lord.
We'll give him like a bent air guitar and everything will be fine, right?
Oh man, we're already defeated.
There's some bugs I'm working around.
Okay, we're gonna pull this back in and do also. Yeah, so was there a particular bug that caused us to be defeated there?
No, the hero deck is just not working.
Oh, okay.
Because of the
because of the changes, which you guys are gonna find out of shortly.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's better to show off what we got working in progress than to like hold back and just show something glitzy at the end. I mean, I'd rather people see along the way what we're making and start getting the ideas. When you're a big fan of the game, you know what you're kind of looking at anyway. And some people are like, I don't know, that doesn't look cool yet. And I want to hear that too. Like I like someone to say, I don't know, that ability looks weird or whatever. I mean, it helps push us to make this stuff better. We're doing that internally anyway. We're not looking at this stuff saying, oh, it's finished, this looks great. Yeah, we want to make it better. But having the community be able to sneak peek early on is great.
So guys, we will be having skill spheres for the Abyss Lord, but we're not revealing those today on the stream here, but it will be pretty cool.
It's a twist to those too.
Yeah, it's a twist, and I can't tell if people are typing in hashtag new hero deck to win the prize or because they're excited to find out. But like some of the questions are yes, we are going to reveal to you how some of the new hero deck stuff looks on the stream later today. We had a question about how people are going to be able to obtain the Abyss Lord when he releases.
Oh yeah, well you'll be able to earn him, or you could just buy the guy. If you want to just buy him right off the bat, you can do that. We're going to have defender medals. We're going to give those away for when you win, and even if you lose certain matches at different scales, at different skill levels, you can earn up a currency and buy them that way, or you can just flat out buy them, whatever you want to do. I mean, in any free to play game, you've got to have a way to earn the character. It's not fair to do it any other way, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I think you guys are going to really enjoy playing with him, whether you choose to purchase him or earn the defender medals in order to get him. We actually just got out of a meeting. Oh yeah. What was it, 10 minutes ago?
Yeah. Well, with monthly quests and daily quests and the rewards for those, and how they should be free to play currencies. Like, I mean, I'm used to reveal a little bit to the fans. Why not? I mean, they want to know this stuff, right? So it's like, we want to try to set up so like, hey, come back and play 1 or 2 games, do a daily quest, get a decent amount of the currency, like a decent amount. Win a few games, get a little bit more. So for someone who does a lot of time, they can feel like, hey, I put a big spike towards my goal, towards earning towards this big amount here. And instead of it just being, yes, win 5 million games and you get it. I mean, we don't want it to be like that. That's not fun. So different types of people, different types of play time available can work towards it and feel like they're making progress. So, you know, if you make it a big, long, terrible grind, that's just not fun. It's not cool either. So.
So we have a question here about accessories in the game. So this is something that we talk about a decent amount in the studio. So why can they still get duplicate accessories from the lockboxes?
Gosh, can they? I don't even know the answer to that one. I've been so focused on the Abyss Lord right now, and me too, and that I'm not sure what the answer to that question even is.
And that's one of the things we've gone through before, is that this is definitely something that we want to fix in the future.
We did
for the lockboxes. And
I'm going to jump in with that. You know, when we started working together on the carnival, one of the things we wanted to do with the carnival, like you can't get the same thing twice in the prize wheel. You can now on the regular wheel in the hub, you can duplicates because you want more consumables, but I'm more of a mindset, if you have a lockbox and you had to earn a key for it, getting duplicates doesn't really work when there's no trading. And I think that wouldn't, what's in there now, maybe something that's left over from last year that wasn't really ironed out perfect or not, it doesn't sound like that's ideal. I wouldn't want it to be that way. So it's definitely something we should fix You don't want to get a duplicate accessory over and over and over. And even in the Harbinger patch, some of those Christmas accessories, I think we even put those in a way, because I remember talking to Hava when we were doing the program with this to make sure that like you don't get duplicates for the costumes you don't even own. So we're sensitive to that kind of stuff. If that slipped through the cracks, we'll fix it. It'll be on the backlog. We'll get it.
So I think R.I. Dennis here is reading our mind. Said they were wondering if we thought of creating a hero that summons wildlife as towers.
What a great idea.
For instance, a forest protector character.
Yeah, with a scimitar, a wooden shield, cast all kinds of spells.
Yeah, that's that's definitely something that we're thinking about, and all sorts of other kinds of heroes. We have
we have this massive folder with all this concept art and characters that have even been modeled and created from previous projects, and the amount of inception and idea that's in the studio for stuff to pull from makes it hard. Gunwitch.
Cool. All right, so with that, I'm gonna scoot over to get snug in the middle of this couch.
All right.
We're gonna have. You got it, Josh?
That's right. David Letterman is here.
Well, I thought I would get to sit in the middle.
Oh no, sorry, it's on the side. All right, so we have Josh John Mahari here. Say hi.
Hello, world.
Okay, cool. So now we're gonna go over the new hero deck changes. See, everyone's typing in hashtag new hero deck. They're excited.
Oh man.
So, so cool. So this is our first look at the new hero deck. Yeah. Ooh, not yet. This title doesn't have the first look, but all right. So this is a question for Elliot, which is why focus on the hero deck first?
Well, gosh, I think we're trying to do a short answer. A big challenge for me, right? You got a console version of the game. You got a PC version of the game. And there's things about the existing PC UIs that aren't really done. Some of them are kind of ugly and old. You guys never got a chance to really finish them last year because you're going content. So fixing that problem while fixing the PlayStation problem, while bringing it in and also making it something that's part of the actual game cycle in your head when you play. That's the big thematic vision behind the whole thing. Clean it up, make it smooth, make it beautiful, play to our strengths, which is character, and art. All those things all wrapped into one's reason to do it. It's not just some trick. There's a lot of damn intelligence behind the lines, part of my language, but it's like there's a lot of cool things that we're going to be able to do with this that will really make the game better.
So the first thing we're going to take a look at is we're actually going to take a look at some data that we have, and this is data on how many people in the game play different kinds of heroes. So we can see here that about 40% of players and 43% of all-time players and 41% of players from the last 2 weeks only play with one hero.
Wow.
And then you can see kind of as the number of heroes go up, the number of people who are playing with them goes down. So I think one of the things we discussed was that the goal of the new hero deck we were going to do is going to be to get people to play with more heroes.
Yeah, because you can do that. I mean, you can have multiple heroes in a build phase and set all kinds of interesting tactics and strategies up. And you guys who are hardcore, who play all kinds of games, are really good at all kinds of games and play this too, you know that already. But there's a lot of people that come to a game not really sure how it works, and they're like, how do you do this? I'm not sure. And they'll just try one hero and think it's Diablo again, and they don't get it. And I think with the UI we're doing now, it really puts it kind of in your face, like, hey, build these characters, have these guys, they're at your disposal. And there's some other things we're doing that are making it a lot more fun too than it is right now. If we were to do it just right now, make it pure aesthetic, it wouldn't be cool. So we're doing other intelligent things too to make it better.
And I think you guys can see from these graphs here too that if you look like out of all time versus
those
the
people
active
live in
people
Kansas,
who are
right?
playing right now. Yeah, active people playing right now are actually playing with more heroes than from all time from when DD2 first came out. So we're hoping as we progress that goes even more into playing with multiple heroes.
Yeah, absolutely.
40%, that's a lie. No, it's not actually. These are pulled directly from the numbers.
More votes than Trump. See, Day's coughing.
That's too funny. You're going to get me sick. All right, cool. So with here, we're going to talk about
we're going to build a wall.
Some of the hero deck and gameplay changes that are coming up. And we have a really shiny title here to show you guys. Sweet. Okay, cool. So these are the hero deck and gameplay changes. So what changes are coming up? What are we working on now?
What are we looking at? That image way over there?
Yeah, way over there.
I can't read it, man.
All right, so the first thing we're working on is the new user interface and the hero card change. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So we had this idea of a hero deck, and obviously Elliot's been talking a little bit about what we're going to do to make that experience a little bit better, because it was kind of an incomplete experience. You guys weren't really getting the full vision of what the hero deck is supposed to be. So we're really focusing on here, and it's one of the big themes for this milestone. We're going to take a step back, basically. So you have the Forge. The Forge basically does a whole bunch of stuff right now. We're going to be pulling out some character stuff from the Forge. We're going to simplify the Forge a little bit, and we're going to put that in the pause menu, basically. So when you hit escape, I'm looking at the session, I'm looking at this widget now, which is basically my hero deck, and I'm able to look and modify and we'll get into a little bit more about what the hero deck actually does, but I'm going to be able to really understand what the vision of the hero deck is, basically.
Mm-hmm. They give you better control. And
Give
much
you
smoother,
more
cleaner control
Right.
that makes sense with
And there are things that we're designing around this hero deck also.
You're right, Elliot. First thing they're going to be hyped for, iPower 6249.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's only for my account. That's only for my account. Yeah, my account has a special flag on it.
So yeah, so
I knew they're going to catch that.
We're going to show you guys a lot of the new user interface, or at least mock-ups of it in a minute. But that's we kind of separated stuff into what's releasing first. So there's that, and the other thing that we're releasing first when it comes out is shared hero deck experience. So this relates back a little bit to the account leveling experiment.
Oh, you can talk about that, Josh. You know this as good as I am. I mean, Josh has been doing all the mock-ups for the UI and the card deck since we first came up with the idea together in December. So why don't you talk about it, dude?
I mean, there's been a lot of talk about why is the hero deck useful to me. So we're going to make it a little bit more useful. Now you're going to have the ability to level all of your heroes up that are in your hero deck. So you will level up 4 heroes at a time.
Without having to have one be the played one in a special way and all that kind of
correct. So that's gonna add a lot of value to the hero deck, and it's gonna add a lot of strategy to how you manage your heroes and which heroes you choose to you can
power level,
basically. Right. I don't want to use that word. But.
I do.
And what other intelligent things are we doing with the hero deck?
That's the first big one right off the bat. I mean, we got this thing set up in multiple phases, Phil. I mean, you wanted to talk about this earlier. I'll let you go back and
Eric, actually, just so everyone can have the visual aid, if we can pull up that again. But so the next things that we're talking about is kind of what people are working on now, but won't be releasing with the first batch of hero deck changes. So the first thing we have here is quick swapping. So the ability to quick swap between one of the heroes in your deck. The next thing that we have on here is swapping during the combat phase. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, okay, so everyone knows that there's a lot of things about the hero deck that some people are like, they want to have all of them. You're playing solo, it's kind of hard to do Nightmare 4. We know about this stuff. I mean, we're not like sticking our head in the sand. So besides like finishing the UI, bringing in the PlayStation 4, getting the PC, this isn't just an aesthetic thing. We want to change how you play the game, but not in a way that you don't want it to be. We want to give you more power. So the long-term plan is to do things like, well, what if you could swap the heroes that are in the deck during the combat phase with maybe a little short cooldown timer? I mean, gosh, think of weapon switching in Guild Wars 2 is a really abstract analogy. You're playing one of the lanes and you're like, oh my goodness, I need to have my monk right now, or I need my Abyss Lord right now, or I need my squire right now. That's something we want to play with, but we're going to have to put it in, we're going to have to try it, see how it feels, and like I said earlier, you got to let the game tell you whether it's resonating or not. So the first phase is to get the UI working, make sure it's clean, make sure it makes sense, that you can look at all the different heroes, look at their abilities, all that kind of stuff first. Then get the experience thing in there. So people can start playing with it and getting their characters leveled up and level up a new Abyss Lord if you want to. And then the next step is to do these other sweeping changes that really kind of change how the game play. And you've got this big long list of other things here. I'll go off on a tangent for an hour and you'll stop me. So, but yeah, that's one thing.
So what we're going to talk about next, but not right now, is also a strategic revamp. For the game, no, that's okay. So we're gonna go over that in a minute, a little bit. It's actually what people are play testing in the office right now today is this strategic revamp. So that's gonna work with the hero deck in order to make different characters more useful and also make the towers and the enemies in the interplay be different than what it is now. So then we have this other section here, which is new, which is what we will be working on. So what we're committing to doing for the hero deck in the future, and I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, I want to go back one step, what you just mentioned, because you said it kind of fast. Right now, Collins and Brett are taking all the enemies and all the heroes and all the lanes and all the maps, all the towers, and they're created a matrix that's like, this one's good against this one, and this one's good against that one, but this one doesn't have that ability. So we're going to add this ability to this one, and we're going to make this one do something different over here. They're not making a rock, paper, scissors, yin and yang thing, verbatim, excuse me, but they're trying to make it where like, hey, they're introducing some new enemies have like a sniper ability. So this one's a really long range enemy. You need a long range tower to take care of it. And so they're trying to put some things in the game to prompt you to think a little bit more about how you lay things out, but not make it where you can't win at all. Because right now it's kind of like, they do damage and they rush forward and one guy stays in the back and that's it. That's not much tactics to that. So we want to add a little baby layer of tactics that's smart. And the guys that worked on the game forever are pioneering this themselves. They're actually playing on the floor right now, prototype. which is pretty cool. We don't get to play it, though, unfortunately. I'm going to go out there and do it afterwards. But so that's really a big deal, because for you, the player that's playing the game all the time, suddenly some maps might be kind of harder, because what you used to just vomit out in the field before doesn't really work anymore. But not so dramatically that you just get completely obliterated and pwned. We want to be like, wait a minute, this is actually kind of tough now, but I have the tools to fix it, because I played this game for a while and I know I have this other character has this. And there's other heroes that are kind of chumpy. I mean, they need to be ramped up, and part of their marching orders from me, you may pick it up from the devlog, is like, I want every hero in the game to be awesome in their own way. Yeah. So they become more like a role. So, you know, that's kind of the whole big vision behind that one.
And that's why it's really important that we started doing that now. As we fit in the Abyss Lord and maybe some other future heroes, really finding out where the gaps are and where they can fit really well is going to be very important.
And that's why his whole UI is designed around you getting access to them. So it all kind of works together like music.
And Eric, if you pull up the strategic revamp one, then you can read that too. So now, I know we just talked about this slide, but we're going to go into kind of what we're not working on right now, but what we're going to be working on in the future for the hero.
Sure. Which one do you want to talk about first then?
Swapping other heroes into the deck during the build phase.
Yeah, that's something that we want to try. Like I said before, you know, we want to try putting it in, let the game tell us whether it's resonating. Because you'd be a fool if you think you can say, we're going to do this, and that's it, I don't care. No one should do that ever in game development. But the whole idea is that, well, okay, a lot of people want to have access to all the heroes. How can you do it in a way that kind of works with the flow of the game without just completely breaking everything? So we want to experiment with a situation where, like, okay, you have a deck with 4 that are active, and during a build phase, maybe you could swap some of those guys out, but your active loadout during combat is just the 4.
And the people that get experience are just the 4.
Just the 4, just the loot for the 4, just experience for the 4, have the combat swap just for the 4, which is kind of like having guns in a game. You know, you have a loadout of the guns or rockets or whatever, or like, you know, you're playing hockey, you're playing basketball, you only got so many guys in the field, some guys on the sidelines. So in the build phase, which is when you're looting, checking out gear, repairing, kind of a mini downtime, we want to try the idea of like, well, if we substitute out some players there, you know, and hey, pull this guy out. Now, whether the fine details, like how will that work really? You know, what if someone's a lower eye power? What if someone else has a defense? If I pull and sub them out, does their defense go away? There's a lot of little subtleties we need to work out. I think the big idea has a lot of possibilities to be very cool, and that's what we're going to try building and trying it out. So, because it would work really well with what Josh has been doing with the hero deck.
It's also going to allow you to be really strategic about how you handle the next, you know, combat phase, which you know what's going to happen, right? So, and it also is, obviously it's going to tie in really well with some of the work that Steven and Brett are doing with the rebalance right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're making the game harder, and if we don't allow you to adapt, you don't want to go back to the.
Well, they're making it more strategic, I would say. Right?
Yeah.
And then the next thing that a lot of people are talking about as well is the loot for all heroes in the deck. So what is this? This is another thing that we're investigating doing. Can you talk a little bit more?
No, Josh, you can talk about that. You know, he's been in all these meetings with me. You want to talk about it? Go for it.
I think you should.
Phil, you have to talk about it. I talk too much, man. They say I talk too much. So, you answer the question.
I will answer the question. All right. So so for this one, you know, like you said, with the swapping heroes into your deck during your build phase, we're trying to find more ways to give utility as people play. And one of the things that we want players to do is to be able to play from the beginning with multiple heroes and keep playing. So that you'll see that in what's releasing now with the shared hero deck experience, where you can put multiple heroes in and you can gain experience for all of them at the same time. But we also thought it's important, if you're doing that, to also get items for other heroes in your deck. Now, how we do this exactly, it's not worked out yet. It's not just going to go back to what it was before, where it drops for everyone and it's not targeted towards what you want to get. But we're going to put in ways for if you have a guy in your deck, but you're not actively in combat with him, that you can find items for him.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I mean, actually, it'd be cool to see on the forums, which I read all the time, actually, to see what you think about that idea.
Well, I'm just looking at the comments here. Everybody loves the quick swap, apparently.
So yeah, cool. So I think there's going to be, you know,
more power for a player.
We have step 1, which is what we're releasing now, and we're going to show you some of the beautiful images of the UI here first in a moment. But I think the cool thing is going to be when all this stuff comes out. Players, you know, we have players who want to play as all the heroes at the time. We have players who want to play as a few heroes, and we think that all these changes are really going to go towards satisfying each kind of requirement. If you want to play with multiple heroes, we're going to be finding an avenue for you to swap other heroes into the battlefield that are more than just your deck. Now they won't get the benefits of being in the deck. All your heroes won't level up at the same time. You won't find loot for all your heroes. You won't be able to play combat with all your heroes, but you might be able to build with all of your heroes. But during the combat phase, you also now have even more added utility of swapping between heroes, and you can level up multiple heroes at the same time. So we think that a lot of these things are going to contribute to just really increasing the utility of using your heroes in the game as we continue to add heroes.
And that's why I like the sports analogy. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not one-to-one, really, a one-to-one relationship. But like, you building your team, which is everything you own and everything you've built and everything you've geared, but who's on the field? You know, the ability during a timeout, which is a build phase, to swap that up and change it up, especially since we're changing how the game plays to be a little tougher. That's going to be really, really important. So I hope it'll really resonate with people, but we've got to do it properly. We've got to put it in the game. We've got to try it. We've got to play it. We've got to find those subtleties that are wonky and weird, like, oh goodness, we can't have all these different barricades because it's not reading off the hero's defense power. You know, we're going to find all these little subtleties that will make it kind of odd, and we try to iron those things out, but that's a long-term goal.
Perfect. All right, so with that, we're going to go into our first look at this new user interface. So guys, these are all mock-ups that you're going to see here today. We actually have already, Josh can talk to you a little bit about the process, but there's already a lot of changes from what these mock-ups were originally to what we are now.
Yeah, so for anybody who remembers Influence Week, a long time ago, we had this really passionate idea of where we kind of wanted to revamp the visual style of the user interface, right? A lot of it was focused on simplicity. A lot of it was focused on the the user experience and the accessibility of the UI, making things very, very clean, but also very simple. So that's sort of, in the last few months, that's something that's been really resonating with the development team here is let's simplify, right? And we don't mean simplifying in one sense. We mean in every sense, right? So simplify, how we work as a team, simplify how the game works, but also simplify, what's coming across to you guys through the monitor, right? So the user interfaces are super important. It's how we convey information to you guys, right? Information about the heroes through the hero deck or what's going on in the game space. So one of the things that we really wanted to do is take a hard look at what we have right now and maybe be a little bit critical. User interfaces for us, for a game that's so complex, we want to start simplifying the visual style, right? So again, that word simplify. Right now our user interfaces, they have a lot of fancy borders, they have a lot of distractions. We have to do a lot of clever things to try to bring attention to things. And so by taking a step back and by redesigning and rethinking this idea of what our user interfaces look like and how they feel, I think we're going to provide a better user experience. So there's a few things that we kind of designed for when we...
And we're going to take a look now actually at the first one, which is the new pause screen of the game.
Right. So it's very simple shapes, very simple colors, and we're trying to get as much information to you, the important information to you, as easily accessible as possible. So, a couple things to keep in mind when we're going through this sort of visual redesign is that not everything is going to be propagated right away. So there's going to be some UI that you'll notice in the next update that are sort of using some of the old style, and that's going to get propagated out slowly as we sort of prove our idea with this interface. Another thing is that controller support, something that we've been talking a lot about, gamepad support. We're designing all these UIs to really take advantage of that and to support that. And also something that we haven't really seen on PC yet, which is going to be very important going forward for console and PC, is split screen. So all these UIs are taking into consideration how they're going to look in split screen and how they're going to feel and interact. And again, we go back to that word simplify, and I think it's super important because it's not only better for you guys, but it's better for us as developers to develop these things and by creating, as simple of a media and content, as possible. So this is helping everybody, and I think, hopefully you guys like, where the visual style is going. We can talk about this as sort of the deck inspect screen, I guess, that you guys are looking at right now. So this is sort of a quick inspect. You'll be able to quickly look through your deck and other players' deck. So this is sort of
see what gear they have on.
Player inspect version 1.0. Now we'll be able to do a very detailed inspect, not immediately, but that'll be something that'll be coming in later. So I can look at everything about a player, what costumes they have, what skill spheres they have equipped, what kind of gear in their inventory they have equipped, and I can really learn about
all our titles, achievements one day. That's the long-term goal.
And so that's something that's we're thinking about now, which is good. but for right now, this V1, it's really all about the things revolving around the hero, the hero deck, and to some extent, just sort of this new visual redesign of
Well, another thing I want to jump in and add on to that is that you invest a lot of time playing a game, you get really good at it, you build up your team, to put on the field, like I was saying earlier, and you've got guys with a certain level of gear, and you want to match it with somebody, you want to see what they have, you want to see what they've done, you want to see like how good are they, or are they just starting out, or what are they trying to achieve. You can check out their stuff. Who knows, maybe one day we'll have trading, which is a really cool thing too we talked about. We also talked about wanting to put ratings and things like that. And this is just a baby step towards being able to do more things and make it more like a game where you're interacting with other people and check out their stuff, and someone might learn from your build like what you have. You say hard blockade to someone who's new, they don't know what you're talking about. So this UI that Josh has designed is really going to facilitate a lot of growth with that kind of stuff.
It also helped, on the vanity side too. Man, that guy's got a really cool costume. I don't even know what costume that guy has, so I can go and and look at that myself. And that stuff like that's also going to be really easy too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of changes coming in. So now, can you talk a little bit about how we got from the interfaces that we just showed people now to kind of what we have in the studio today that we're actually implementing right now?
So,
or actually, let's talk about this one first a little bit. Sorry.
So hero details. There's this new idea that we have. We want to, like I said, we're pulling out some stuff from the Forge, and we're kind of hot linking them through the pause menu. So one of the things that you'll be able to do is, and obviously as we release a huge library of heroes, you're going to want to be able to look at a quick one-pager or sort of a wiki page about your hero. So the hero details page is where you're going to be able to purchase new heroes through premium currency or through our, what are we calling them? Defender medals. Defender medals.
You don't get any.
Yeah. It'll be also where you can look at the hero's kit, so their defenses and abilities, and you'll just sort of get a quick one-pager about them. You'll be able to preview costumes. This is sort of the interface that you'll be able to check out if you see somebody with a
and guys, the numbers on the screen are not real numbers.
I do look at the numbers.
Of course, they always do.
This is the first mock. Actually,
I can't have 6,000.
That's also why the Abyss Lord is wearing the Dryad's apprentice hat, because it's a mock that Josh did.
I only realized that today. This thing's been around for a few weeks now.
It's just a mock-up. It's cool.
So yeah, that's the gist of what. And then from here, we'll also be able to browse through all the other heroes,
make new ones, and
make new.
Oh gosh, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff coming in the pipe. So we took these mock-ups and then we kind of did play tests internally.
Oh yeah, that's something that we haven't really done before.
You should let people know how it works, because I bet. And if I was a gamer, I want to know how do you do that? Tell them how you make it.
So we sort of created this. I created a very detailed mock-up for us, which is something that would be more representative of what you would expect to see in the game. I'm showing different states. I'm showing what it would look like in split screen. I'm showing what the pause menu looks like. I'm showing what it looks like to add a So I'm going through all of these states that the UIs would normally have. And once I create like the really nice ones, I take a step back and then we say, okay, well let's go ahead and create a very simplified wireframe version of these, because it's a little bit easier to manage that. And we go through literally every stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very important for us to iterate, because actually it's something that we haven't really done before efficiently as a dev team, is make sure that our UIs are going to work like we expect them to, right? So we've gone ahead and we've created wires for everything, and we use a tool that will allow us to go through all of the flows, and we've been play testing user interface flows actually for the last few weeks. So that's been a lot of fun for me and for the team.
Well, like every other day.
Yeah.
Every other day is like new build the UI, check it out everyone, here's a survey, answer the questions, check it out, get together, look at the feedback.
Right.
It's very fun.
It's very cool. Iterative process.
Yeah, everyone's involved in it. It's really awesome.
And we're pretty much there with.
It's not like hire one dude and say go sit in the corner and make it cool. That's not.
Well, that's how kind of it used to work, right? Of course.
So Josh has been doing awesome with this stuff, and Bryce has been helping, and everyone who's been taking the time to give us feedback on the UI stuff is really important.
Actually, it really has
been smooth.
It really has been a team effort the last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have all this stuff that's going in the game right now. Everyone's kind of working on getting the user interface out first. We're really excited to get that to you guys. And then after that, we're going to be working on the rest of the changes for the
we have tons to do.
And the future heroes that are coming out. So we're really excited. If you guys have questions, I know there was a lot of questions that were going on while we were talking about those things. We have kind of the next 5 minutes to answer questions. I know a lot of people keep asking about the numbers, some of the images. These were all mock-ups that we showed, so they're all placeholder.
6,000 power, yes.
They're all made on Photoshop on Josh's machine. So all the numbers and everything in them were just temp in order to kind of give you guys an idea over what we're looking at. And the actual mock-ups that we're programming in now internally are actually already pretty different than those ones, because we've run through playtesting them multiple times using UI software in order to figure out what kind of the best version will be to go in. Oh, we have someone asking about how the Abyss Lord attacks. So I know that Eric showed that a little bit. Do you want to talk a little bit?
Yeah,
about
his primary left click attack is like a front channel kind of ability that drains mana. I know it's a resource that hasn't really been used much, but we're trying to give this guy more of a balance between burning tons of mana, replenishing it, burn tons of mana, replenishment. And so he has this kind of frontal cone mind flake kind of thing he can do where he pulls a lot of mana in really, really quickly, and then he can use it to burn it really fast on some of his abilities. His right click is kind of a right click wind up ability that summons a spiraling whirlwinding type of spirit downfield, which is pretty nasty. It has kind of two states, like a quick release and a much more powerful, slower release on it. So most of his attacks, he's kind of like a magician, kind of a magical guy. He's not meleeing people or anything like that. But he's basically really, the real power of this guy comes from the abilities that are like towers and the towers themselves, and then what you do with them and managing your mana. If you're very, very good at doing that and you realize it, you can do a lot of really cool stuff really quickly. And a lot of play tests with the people in the office who all play very differently, that's what's really kind of clicking with him. And so this is active builder is a buzzword I like to use for it. When we make the next hero, it'll be another cool buzzword. And so we're going to keep adding these neat themes to the game, where, and the whole big picture idea behind the whole thing is that something that you can go mess around with as a kit of parts for you, and so how you play them is how good it is, as opposed to being like, yeah, this guy's only good at tanking stuff and that's it. You know, no one wants to do that. So they're much more three-dimensional in thinking. But yeah, that's pretty much how he attacks.
Yeah. So we have some questions about the being able to swap heroes into and out of the deck during the build phase idea that we proposed. The question is, would their towers persist on the battlefield while you
That would be one of the questions you have to address. I mean, I could give you a gut instinct answer on the spot, but it won't mean anything.
Yeah.
Because I want the game to tell us, you know. But I mean, if you were to able to have every single builder you wanted and in the build phase, put them in the deck, build their towers, and then leave the game, it's going to be harder to track like what's all their stats, what their skill scores are, what's going on. You may have a situation where like if you don't have them in the deck, those towers may not persist, or maybe we have a limit to how many they can have, or maybe the towers will persist but they won't have the same stats, or maybe they will. And there's all kinds of different ways you can do it. We need to try all of them and then let the game tell us what's going to work. If we just try to give you a straight up answer, that would be stupid. I mean, it wouldn't be the right answer. We need to try it out and see how it feels. I do think it's a really important thing for us to do, and I'm a big advocate of this, you can probably pick it up, is that we want to try to get to something that the game gives you the power to do what you want to do, what still feels like kind of a game with some rules around it. You know, it's not just a wild free-for-all of do whatever you want. Then it gets not very challenging anymore. So the balance between the challenge and what you can and can't do, that's why we're trying to do the hero deck, is getting a lot of emphasis to make it very lucrative to who your 4 is you have right now. Makes a big difference for your moment-to-moment fighting. And that's why we're talking about the other things. If you're going to do this, you can make it lucrative. What could you do with the 4? Well, how about combat switching? You know, that kind of stuff. So these are the kind of conversations that we have in the office. We debate hotly back and forth whether it would be good for the game and all that kind of stuff. But that's good problem to have. So that's what we're trying to do with that.
And we have a couple people mentioning that in actually Dungeon Defenders 1, when you played with an active builder on the field, a building character, your towers got buffed by 30%. So there's kind of a bonus in that game for like, if you're playing with the builder guy, then there's some incentive to keep him on the field.
That makes complete sense.
Switching to DPS character. So those are all kind of things that we're considering. We're working on the hero deck now. We're going to be trying things just like we tried account leveling this last week. It didn't work that well, so we kind of put it to the wayside, trying other things. We're going to be getting your guys' feedback back and forth to see. So, guys, please, let us continue giving your feedback on the forums.
I would love to see people posting and talking about on the forum, like, how could that work? If I was doing it, I like to see it this way. I actually like to see those kind of postings because you're the player. I mean, the developers, we want to listen to the players. We've been doing this for a long time, but we're not arrogant enough to think that we're absolutely perfect with everything we do. That's pretty rude. So I'd love to see some threads that are talking about what they think would really be neat. You never know where the cool idea comes from. You know, someone might have a great idea. We'll give them credit for it.
Oh, will the monk be able to heal the minions with this?
Well, now that he's dead, he can't. Yeah. So.
So I think that we can answer this question. So the question is, are the minions of the Abyss Lord, do they act like other towers and others, the synergies from other characters that work on towers work on them, or do they act like other heroes and the synergies that other characters do with heroes work on them.
Well, you always want to have some interplay between some things are affected by synergies and some things are not. Like some of the towers are not. Like maybe another Abyss Lord may not be able to direct command yours. Like that's a big issue we've been talking about. If I've got my stuff set up, but then we say, well, what if it's just your personal internal cooldown? Maybe you can do it. If I've got a monk aura over here doing this, if I put this inside of it, should it benefit? Well, yeah, why not? That's teamwork. And so things that kind of make a lot of sense are great. We obviously want to put one thing in the game where it ends up becoming the only meta that you can only win by doing this one thing. That's not fun. That's not really a puzzle to solve, you know. But yeah, I think synergy's got to be there. You don't want any character to be a freestanding entity in a team-oriented game.
All right, guys. We also have some questions about how the loot is going to work for heroes in your hero deck. That's something that we're currently working on now, trying to figure out. But just the idea is that we want to give you a way to have more power over what loot you're going to get for the heroes in your deck. So if you're a newbie and you're playing the game from the beginning, you don't have to play it over 4 times to gear up all your characters. Okay, so guys, thanks for tuning in today. We hope you had enjoyed Josh coming on the show and showing you the new user interface that we have. We're going to be posting some of this on the forums later tonight or this weekend, so stick around. You can comment there. Please stay tuned for the Social Tavern. After, that's where some of our Casters Guild are going to talk about everything that we talked about today. Additionally, we are going to be having a trailer for the Abyss Lord and the full reveal coming out in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. And we'll see you on March 18th for our next Devstream.
All right, and we end every show with our new phrase.
What's our new phrase?
Back to work.
Thanks, guys. You do it too fast.